Hello, everyone. My name is Lena Faulkner, and I will be discussing unions. The union I selected is Teamsters, or International Brotherhood of Teamsters. It is America's largest and most diverse union. They serve the regions of the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. Originally, they were known to be specific to truck drivers, but now they represent many professions such as zookeepers, healthcare workers, bakers, pilots, police officers, secretaries, and so on. According to a press release by the Teamsters in June of 2019, which was 1 year after the Janus decision, they stated that they were better than ever. And, despite the efforts by the courts, non-union lawyers, and billionaires to undercut the ability of the public sector workers. And at that time of the release, they said that the union had more employees than they did before the Janus decision. And according to them, other unions were also reporting the same increase in memberships. But looking at another article from June of this year, 2022, which was 4 years after the Janus decision, there has been a surge in public sector labor policy litigations, and close to 200 federal lawsuits have been filed covering a multiple of topics, but the two main ones being whether or not the unions are going to need to refund the dues that were forcibly paid out prior to the Janus decision, and whether or not the union can still collect dues from employees who choose to leave the union, because I guess upon initial agreement, there's only like a 15-day resignation window. So since I work in the healthcare industry, I chose to look up a recent related article. It's from September of 2021. And this peer-reviewed article focuses on employment and working conditions for nurses. So it highlights how things were unfair before the pandemic and how inequalities have actually increased since the pandemic. And the article really focuses on the fact that there's poor working conditions that make nurses and their families more vulnerable to illnesses, and it provides explanation of why the vulnerability increases by different factors: gender, inequalities, social class, race, age, migrant status, things of that nature. So the author points out that the union protection can help, and he notes that either unions or other civil societal groups, they're valuable, they contribute to strengthening the role of nurses in the healthcare teams, which then gives them power to negotiate for better employment and better working conditions. So now I'm reviewing the Wisconsin Act 10 bill from 2011. Jason Stein wrote a book titled More Than What They Bargained For, and he completed an interview with PBS to discuss the effects of the bill 10 years later. He says that as a result of the bill, taxes are down, school spending is down, and Wisconsin is below the national average for teacher compensation and benefits. This is really unfortunate because prior to Act 10, Wisconsin actually ranked in high in spending towards public education, specifically teacher pay and teacher benefits. So Act 10, it was a budget reform bill that required higher benefit contributions by the public workers, and this ultimately led to a reduction in the take-home wages for the employees. It also limited how unions could operate in the state and accelerated the drop in union participation by public employees. I personally didn't know anything about this bill before today, so all the information that I gathered was new to me. I feel the article relates to this week's material in the sense that it gives a perspective of what happens when unions have limits put on them regarding, what and how, when they can support the public employees. And just looking, at Wisconsin, without union pressure, the state overall has just declined in their education system, teachers' pay, benefits, everything's diminished. So it really shows that there is a benefit in having the unions in place. And that is my information for the week. Thank you very much.